You got to take your time in the morning. You have to take your time with you in the morning. And I think peak life, like one of the most top tier experiences in life, is taking your time in the morning. And really, when you think about it, it's either you're going to run your day or your day is going to run you. Like, that's just what it comes down to. And so often I can think to times where I felt like life was just happening to me and like it was just out of control and things were just happening to me. And it's because I was letting life happen to me as opposed to the other way around. And a big part of that comes down to how you start the day. And I think one of the most important life principles, no matter who you are, no matter what it is that you do, is starting the day on your terms. And if you want to have a life that's more peaceful, if you want to have a life that's more calm, if you want to give a better version of yourself to everyone around you, that starts with you starting the day on your terms. That starts with you being intentional about that from the moment that you wake up. The thing about life, and I, even hearing myself say that sentence out loud, I'm like kind of rolling my eyes, right? I'm in my 30s. I don't have all the answers. But that being said, a lot of people have said, that I have a wise perspective saying that for years. So anyways, the thing about life is it's always going to throw you ups and downs. There's always going to be different life stressors. Your ability to respond to them, though, starts with your nervous system and how you started the day. And if you started the day reacting to everything, if you started the day letting the day manage you, letting the day run you, then of course the rest of the day is only going to go worse from there. So I want to talk about a few reasons, maybe 5 or so reasons why it's important for you to be the one who starts the day and like how you can actually do that. Now, the first thing is if you're the type of person, and I've been this type of person many times, if you don't set the tone for your day, other people's obligations will set the tone for your day. Other people's thoughts, opinions, and ideas will set the tone for your day. Other people's values will influence you for that day. And so what I mean is like if you roll over and the first thing you do is you check text messages, you check emails, you check social media, you check news, that's other people's priorities being inserted into and now hijacking your nervous system. That's what that does. Now, when you start the day on your terms, that means it's your values and your intentions that are framing the day versus somebody else's demands for your time, energy, attention, money, resources, which is 9 times out of 10 what's going on in our notifications. It's something begging, claiming, demanding our time, energy, emotions, resources, attention, money. And if you feel like you want to have more time, more energy, more money, more resources, it starts with you setting the tone for your day and not the other way around. Okay, now the second reason why this is so important for you to start the day on your terms is because our minds and our bodies, especially right now, need a buffer. But generally speaking, our nervous system doesn't do well. It doesn't feel good when we're just thrown straight into reactivity. That just keeps the cortisol surging the entire day. We need a short window of movement, of stillness, of peace and quiet, of hearing nature, because that's regulating, of reflection. We need all of that. And when we give ourselves that buffer, we're so much more resilient to the stress that is inevitably going to hit us later. This is especially important for those of you who are like in high stress jobs, high income, high stress jobs. Like I remember I used to be in a very high stress job, and there was a big difference between those days where I started on my terms and those days where I woke up late, 15 minutes before I needed to be in the car on my way to work. There's a big difference. You need that buffer. You have to set the tone. You have to set your baseline. Something else that happens when you give yourself this buffer, when you give yourself this time and space for reflection, this time and space to, again, be on your terms, you access more clarity, and decisions are easier for you to make. Ultimately, decision like what you say yes to and what you say no to throughout the day is so much more easy and simple and clear. But also, if you have like bigger decisions that are on the table that you need to make, you can make them from a place of clarity when you give yourself that buffer in the morning, in particular, when you have the most energy, right? When you have the most capacity. And that clarity compounds over time. It compounds over time. You go a whole week starting every day on your terms, more and more clarity is going to emerge and come through. And just as a baseline, you have less rushed choices, less spiraling, and so much more energy left in your tank for what really matters in life. So the reason you want to start the morning, start the day on your terms is that's how you reclaim your time. It's so easy to feel like the entire day belongs to your job if you have a 9 to 5, or if you're like me and you have a business, it's so easy to feel like all of your time, energy, free time, extra resources needs to go to your business. It's so easy to feel that way. Or maybe, you have a family. You have a to-do list with your family. Carving out that time in the morning, whether it's 5 minutes or an hour, proves to yourself that I matter. I matter too. And this day belongs to me too. And that shift mentally, emotionally, spiritually matters. It matters. You reclaiming your time in that way matters. You reclaiming your energy, you setting those boundaries matters. Now, when you get consistent with this, I already told you the energy compounds, the clarity compounds, but when you get consistent with this, you're proving to yourself over time that your needs matter. And every time you keep that promise, you reinforce this idea that you can rely on you. And that does something for your confidence. That does something for you being assertive. When you know that you can confide in you, that's what confidence is. And that ripples into calm, clarity, and confidence throughout the rest of your day, throughout the rest of your life. I want to make that really clear. When I talk about starting the day on your terms, I'm not talking about like hardcore discipline, like you need to start the day with a jog and the perfect morning routine and the perfect, structure and journal and affirmations and all this stuff. I'm not saying any of that. I'm saying you start it on your terms, what feels good for you, what makes sense for you, what makes sense for your life, what makes sense for your nervous system, just doing it on your terms. That's what I mean. That's it. For me, this morning, it looks like I've been sitting outside for the past hour. I've been taking it relatively slow. After I sat outside for a while, then I went and got my coffee. I sipped my coffee. And it hit me, I'm so grateful that I take this time most mornings. And I'm so grateful that I was intentional about designing a life that would allow me to be able to take this time. And, maybe you're not there yet. Maybe that's something that you're striving to create for yourself. And I'm telling you, it's so worth it. Because ultimately, you could be focused on making a lot of money, reaching whatever goals that you have. But isn't the point so that you can be present? Isn't the point so that you can have less stress? Isn't the point so that you could experience freedom? So why not just give yourself that time and that space right now? Because you can. You actually can. No matter what's on your plate, you can. And maybe it's not the morning for whatever reason. Then it's 10 minutes at some other point in the day where things are on your terms. So that's the message that I have for you today. I spend most of my mornings like this, but it just dawned on me, maybe I could make a video about this, and hopefully it blesses you. Hopefully it helps somebody. I'm going to go get ready for the rest of my day, take a shower, take care of my beard, shave my head, wash my face, brush my teeth. And I hope that wherever you are, wherever you're tuning in from, you have a great rest of your day. My name is Sid Scott. I'll see you in the next video.